This is my backyard, and this is a jack pine. This is a tamarack. Back behind the tamarack, it's a red or a Norway pine. This is another jack pine, and back behind it is a white cedar. And I planted these trees, the jacks and the Norway and the cedar, close to 30 years ago. And these trees would be massive now if I'd let them grow. But what I do every year in the spring at the end of the dormant season is I go in and I prune some of the bigger branches, and I prune a lot of the smaller branches off that are competing with other ones, and then I trim everything back to keep these trees small. I'm going to prune them up, and I've trimmed some of the smaller branches, but today I need to go up and trim some of the upper branches. But I want to show you how I cut these that's best for the tree. For instance, this branch right here, it's got some really nice pine cones on it, but I'm using what's called a bypass pruner, and you can see that this blade bypasses this piece of steel. This piece isn't sharp. This is right here, and you want to keep your pruners really nice and sharp. And you get a nice clean cut, which is better for the trees. They can heal up faster, and then they aren't susceptible to bugs and any type of disease that could get in. But when I cut, I want to remove this branch from here, and I want to save this. So what I do is I go 1/4 inch past here, this branch, and cut it at a 45. That way, if this was just a bud, there's chemicals in the tree that would stimulate that bud to produce a branch that would grow out. Being that there's a branch here, now this branch will probably grow a little bit faster than it would otherwise, because this is kind of really the leader. And I'm gonna just trim these up pretty heavily. Like I say, I don't want them getting any bigger than they are for height. And I'm gonna prune them, and I'll show you when I'm done. And some of the bigger branches I'm going to use a saw on, because I can't cut them with this pruner. I'm going to have to get up there and see how things look, if I need the hand saw or not. But I cut those the same way. Well, actually, no, I don't. I cut depending on the size of the branch. For instance, if I was going to take off this branch right here, it's hard to see on this branch, but there's a collar that goes all the way around this branch. You don't want to cut into the collar real close to the tree trunk, because it won't heal very well, and then it's susceptible to insects and disease. So you want to cut out here. I would cut this here outside the collar. That way the trees can heal up faster, and it's just better for the tree. Here's an old branch that I'd cut off, and you can see the collar right here, and I cut outside of that. Looks like there's a little bit of sap in there, which helps protect the tree. It kind of is self-sealing then, and this is healing up, and the tree is doing really well. So I'm going to trim them up, and I'll show you the finished results. But actually, I'm going to come back here and let you see how tall and big these trees are. Let me move way back. But notice how tall those are. And I'm going to trim them back pretty dramatically. I just finished pruning these, the jack pine and the Norway, the other jack pine, and the white cedar. White cedar left a little bit tall. I'll probably prune them up more next year. But I just want to keep them small for my yard. Yard is a typical city lot. I think it's like 150 by 65 feet. Probably, I don't know as far as acres. If it's 1/4, it might even be less than that. But anyways, I just want to keep these trees small. So there they are, pruned way down. And I've been doing this for, probably 20 years. The trees were only 1 or 2 feet tall when I planted them 30 years ago. let them grow for a few years, didn't do much pruning on them then, but now they're relatively mature trees. But they're kind of, I kind of look at them as bonsai, though they're not true bonsai. Bonsais are really tiny trees that are made to look like old trees. But you know, and this is kind of, there's a technical part of it of pruning properly, and then there's kind of the artistic too. And it's like, okay, what looks good? But you know, if you make mistake pruning, it can kind of really mess up the tree for a long time. But it's kind of like a bad haircut too, where the only difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut is 2 weeks. So, and these trees, once they start growing, this is the end of the dormant season. This is early spring. Snow's been gone for a few weeks, which is the best time to prune most woody plants, trees and shrubs, and they'll grow, and some of these will gain a foot or two a year. Well, their root structure is really established, and they're very healthy, and trees are doing real well. Be sure and check out my other videos. Please subscribe, like, share, leave a comment below. Have a great day.